Introduction. Winning begins in the mind long before it happens in reality. Every victory you've ever seen, every champion, every millionaire, every top performer, every person who rebuilt their life from nothing began with one thing: a mindset built for winning. Not luck, not talent, not resources, not privilege, not timing. Mindset. Winning is not an accident. Losing is not destiny. Success is not reserved for the chosen few. Winners think differently. They see differently. They respond differently. They believe differently. They operate from a psychological structure that most people never discover, a structure built around discipline, clarity, identity, and attention. This audiobook is your blueprint for constructing that mindset inside yourself. If you apply what you're about to learn, you won't just improve your life. You will transform your entire internal operating system. This is not motivation. This is mental engineering. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The winner's identity shift. Most people try to change their behavior without ever changing their identity. They want to be confident but still think like someone insecure. They want to be disciplined but still see themselves as inconsistent. They want to build wealth but still think like someone who struggles. They want to win but still believe they are a person who loses. Here is the truth. Identity is the root. Behavior is the branch. Identity is the engine. Action is the output. A loser identity will always sabotage winning behavior. A conflicted identity will always produce inconsistent action. A powerful identity produces powerful execution. If you want to think like a winner, you must adopt the identity of someone who wins before the wins arrive. This is the mental shift most people never make. You tell yourself, I am someone who executes. I am someone who finishes what I start. I am someone who handles pressure. I am someone who grows through struggle. I am someone who becomes better under adversity. I am someone who succeeds because I decide to. Winners don't wait for results to believe in themselves. They believe first. Results follow. Chapter 2. The internal voice that creates or destroys you. Every human being has an internal voice. The narrator, the interpreter, the explainer, the justifier, the critic. Most people's internal voice is hostile. It attacks, it doubts, it criticizes, it amplifies fear, it exaggerates failure, it minimizes success. Winners master their internal voice. They do not let it operate on default settings. A winner's internal voice is structured, disciplined, and trained. It says things like, "Problems make me sharper. I can handle this. One step at a time. I've survived worse. I know who I am. Pressure is a privilege." This is how champions are built. You will never outperform your self-talk. You will never exceed the limits of your inner voice. Your life is simply an expression of how you think when you are alone. Change that internal voice, and your entire future changes with it. Chapter 3. The winner's decision. Commit or collapse. Winners are not the most talented. They are the most decided. A decision is not a wish. It is not a hope. It is not a maybe if things go well. A decision is a psychological commitment that eliminates negotiation. Most people suffer because they never fully commit. They keep escape routes open. They keep excuses alive. They keep one foot in and one foot out. Winners decide, and their decisions reshape their identity. There is a moment in a winner's life where they say, I'm done living below my potential. I'm done playing small. I'm done doubting myself. I'm done carrying old versions of me. I'm done living in fear. I'm done letting life push me around. That moment of psychological finality is the beginning of winning. Once you commit internally, your brain reorganizes around your decision. You stop negotiating. You stop hesitating. You stop procrastinating. You stop questioning your path. You simply act. A fully committed person is the most dangerous human on earth. Chapter 4. Confidence. The skill of trusting yourself. Confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is not ego. Confidence is not pretending you're better than others. Confidence is a skill, the ability to trust yourself in the face of uncertainty. You build confidence every time you honor your own standards. You destroy confidence every time you break your own word. Confidence comes from doing what you said you were going to do, showing up when you don't feel like it, keeping promises to yourself, finishing things instead of abandoning them, choosing progress over perfection, staying calm under pressure. Winners do not wait to feel confident. They act their way into confidence. Every time you face fear and execute anyway, you build a deeper belief in yourself. Confidence grows through action, not affirmation. Chapter 5. Pressure and Pain. The Forge of a Winner. Life will hit you. People will betray you. Plans will collapse. Your heart will break. Your expectations will fail. Your path will twist. Your certainty will disappear. Most people crumble under pressure. Winners are built by it. Pain is not an obstacle. It's the forge that strengthens the mind. Winners look at pain differently. They interpret adversity differently. They assign a different meaning to struggle. Most people say, "This shouldn't be happening." Winners say, "This is sharpening me." Most people say, "This is too hard." Winners say, "This is exactly why I'm going to be unstoppable." Pain reveals who you are. Pressure reveals your preparation. Adversity reveals your identity. When you think like a winner, pain becomes fuel, not poison. Chapter 6. Focus. The weapon. Most people never develop. Your mind has limited energy. Your attention is the most valuable currency you possess. Most people waste their focus. They scatter it across meaningless distractions: social media, gossip, comparison, emotional drama, self-doubt, entertainment, and mental clutter. Winners guard their focus like a fortress. They eliminate noise, distraction, chaos, toxic people, time-wasting environments, tasks that do not align with their goals. Winners understand the rule. If it does not move me forward, it is not allowed in my life. Focus is how you multiply your power. Distraction is how you destroy it. To think like a winner, you must sharpen your attention until your mind becomes a weapon. Chapter 7. Discipline, the non-negotiable foundation. You cannot think like a winner if you are controlled by your emotions, your comfort, or your urges. Discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done whether you feel like it or not. Most people rely on motivation. Winners rely on discipline. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Motivation depends on mood. Discipline depends on standards. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is structural. Winners build systems that carry them through days when their feelings try to sabotage them. They do not entertain negotiation. They do not debate with excuses. They do not allow laziness to vote. To think like a winner is to understand, my feelings are allowed to exist, but they are not allowed to make decisions. Chapter 8. Environment. Your silent sabotager or secret weapon. Your environment influences your identity more than your willpower does. If you surround yourself with weak people, negative people, inconsistent people, people who complain, people who settle, people who fear growth, you will eventually become like them. Winners curate their environment with intention. They choose high-standard people, growth-minded individuals, disciplined performers, people who speak the language of success, people who want to win, people who challenge them to rise. Your environment is either an anchor or a launch pad. To think like a winner, you must build an environment that reinforces your identity, protects your attention, and supports your goals. Chapter 9. Responsibility. The winner's superpower. Winners take responsibility for everything in their life, not blame, but responsibility. Blame looks backward. Responsibility looks forward. Blame makes you powerless. Responsibility makes you powerful. Blame searches for villains. Responsibility searches for solutions. The moment you take responsibility for your life, you reclaim control over your future. Winners do not say, "It's not my fault." They say, "It's my responsibility to fix it." This shift changes everything. You cannot think like a winner while believing life is happening to you. You must believe life is happening for you, and your response determines your rise. Chapter 10. The winner's mind under stress. Winners are not calm because life is easy. They are calm because they have trained their mind to respond with clarity instead of panic. Most people think stress means danger. Winners think stress means challenge. Most people see uncertainty as risk. Winners see uncertainty as opportunity. Most people interpret setbacks as failure. Winners interpret setbacks as data. Your interpretation creates your reality. To think like a winner, you must learn to slow your breathing, slow your mind, silence your emotions, analyze instead of react, respond instead of fear. Use stress as a sharpening tool. Your mind becomes unshakable when you stop letting stress dictate your behavior. Chapter 11. Emotional control, the highest form of strength. The world teaches you that strength looks like force, domination, loudness, and aggression. But winners know the truth. Real strength is emotional control. When you can control your emotions, you control your actions. When you control your actions, you control your results. When you control your results, you control your future. People lose not because they're weak, but because their emotions hijack their decisions. Winners master emotional neutrality. They don't let anger dictate responses. They don't let fear stop progress. They don't let insecurity block opportunity. They don't let pain rewrite identity. You can feel emotions fully, but you must decide which ones are allowed to influence your choices. Winning requires emotional maturity, and emotional maturity begins with one belief: I do not react, I respond. That single mindset will save you years of damage and accelerate your rise. Chapter 12. Self-respect, the foundation of all confidence. A person with self-respect becomes unstoppable. Why? Because self-respect creates standards, and standards determine your entire life. People with low self-respect tolerate disrespect, laziness, chaos, poor treatment, inconsistent efforts, empty promises, weak boundaries, lack of progress. People with high self-respect refuse these things. Winners do not chase validation. They do not tolerate disrespect. They do not shrink themselves to fit mediocre environments. They do not betray themselves for approval. When you respect yourself, you begin to speak differently, walk differently, work differently, think differently, choose differently, respond differently. Self-respect is not something you feel. It is something you build through action. Every time you raise your standards, you raise your identity. Every time you raise your identity, your confidence grows. Every time your confidence grows, your results explode. Self-respect is the root of the winner's mindset. Chapter 13. The power of decisive action. Winners act fast. Winners act boldly. Winners act with clarity, even when they don't have complete information. Indecision is the enemy of greatness. Every moment you hesitate, overthink, and stall, you weaken your psychology. The mind thrives on clarity. The mind collapses under confusion. Winners understand. Any decision beats no decision. Momentum matters more than perfection. Action produces answers. Hesitation kills confidence. Speed builds self-belief. You don't have to get it perfect. You have to get it moving. Action creates clarity. Action creates feedback. Action creates opportunities. The person who moves will always outgrow the person who thinks about moving. Chapter 14. The winner's relationship with failure. Failure doesn't break winners. Failure builds them. Why? Because winners interpret failure differently. Losers see failure as identity. I failed, so I am a failure. Winners see failure as information. I failed because there was something to learn. This reframe changes everything. Failure becomes a teacher. Failure becomes a compass. Failure becomes a sharpening tool. Most people never win because they avoid failure. Winners win because they embrace iteration. Every setback reveals a skill you need, a mindset gap, a weakness to strengthen, a flaw in the system, a blind spot, a new direction. Winners do not fear failure because they do not tie their worth to outcomes. Their worth comes from identity, not performance. Imagine how powerful you would be if you stopped taking failure personally. Chapter 15. Relentlessness. The Winner's Edge. There are talented people everywhere. There are intelligent people everywhere. There are skilled people everywhere. But very few are relentless. Relentlessness is the refusal to quit, collapse, or shrink, even when everything seems stacked against you. Winners keep moving. When they're tired, when they're discouraged, when the path is unclear, when people doubt them, when fear tries to take over. Most people only move when conditions are ideal. Winners move regardless of conditions. Relentlessness is not aggression. It is consistency under pressure. It is persistence when progress is slow. It is discipline when motivation is dead. The world eventually yields to the person who refuses to stop. Chapter 16. How Winners View Competition. Most people misunderstand competition. They think winners obsess about beating others. They assume winners are driven by comparison, rivalry, and ego. But true winners understand that the real competition is internal. The competition is between who you are and who you could be, between your potential and your habits, between your standards and your excuses, between your power and your fear, between the old you and the new you. External competition is irrelevant if you defeat yourself mentally. A winner thinks, I don't need to beat you. I need to beat the version of myself that would lose. When you master internal competition, external challenges become effortless. Chapter 17. Building Unbreakable Belief. There is a level of power that only becomes accessible when you build unbreakable belief in yourself. Belief is not blind optimism. Belief is not delusion. Belief is not fantasy. Belief is the logical conclusion of consistent work, consistent discipline, consistent victories, consistent improvement. Belief comes from evidence. Belief comes from repetition. Belief comes from identity alignment. Every day you keep your promises to yourself, you deposit currency into your belief system. Every day you break your promises, you withdraw from it. Winners build belief slowly, deliberately, relentlessly. They treat belief like a muscle, something that grows with training. When belief becomes unbreakable, fear loses power, doubt becomes irrelevant, obstacles shrink, the future expands. Unbreakable belief is rare, but it is trainable. Chapter 18. The Winner's Relationship with Time. Most people waste the most valuable resource they have, time. They trade their time for distraction, entertainment, emotional drama, procrastination, low-value habits. A winner sees time differently. Time is opportunity. Time is leverage. Time is the building block of all achievement. Time is the currency of success. Winners allocate their time with intention. High-value tasks first, focus before relaxation, discipline before pleasure, growth before comfort. People say they want success, but their calendar reveals the truth. If you want to think like a winner, you must treat your schedule like sacred territory. Time wasted is potential evaporated. Chapter 19. Why Winners Don't Seek Approval. Approval seeking is mental poison. The moment you outsource your self-worth to others, you lose control of your life. Winners do not chase opinions. They do not need applause to validate effort. They do not need permission to pursue goals. They do not need agreement to trust themselves. Approval seeking destroys creativity, clarity, authenticity, confidence, speed, decisiveness. When you stop caring about how you look and start caring about who you're becoming, your life accelerates. A winner's value is internal, not external. Chapter 20. Dominating your inner world. Thinking like a winner means mastering your inner world so deeply that external chaos cannot shake you. Your inner world includes your thoughts, your interpretations, your beliefs, your focus, your standards, your identity, your emotions, your reactions, your self-talk. Winners dominate this territory. They do not allow their mind to run wild. They regulate it. They discipline it. They train it. A disciplined mind becomes a powerful mind. A powerful mind creates a powerful life. The world bends to those who think with clarity, intention, and identity. Chapter 21. Think bigger. The winner's expansion. Mindset. Every champion has one thing in common. They think bigger than everyone else. They refuse to limit themselves. They refuse to play small. They refuse to shrink their vision to match temporary circumstances. Winners think, what is possible for me? What is the maximum I can achieve? How big can I grow? What would the highest version of me pursue? Small thinking is a cage. Big thinking is liberation. Your life will never exceed the size of your vision. Expand your vision, and you expand your future. Chapter 22. How winners finish strong. Most people start strong and fade quickly. Winners finish strong because their psychology is built around completion, not excitement. They understand. The last mile matters most. Momentum builds identity. Finishing builds confidence. Completion builds clarity. Follow-through builds belief. Anyone can start. Few can finish. Winners differentiate themselves by execution, not enthusiasm. Finishing is a habit. Ending strong is a trademark. Follow-through is a distinguishing feature of high performers. Chapter 23. Becoming unstoppable. Thinking like a winner is not about being perfect. It is about being inevitable. Unstoppable people have strong identity, control their emotions, focus intensely, eliminate distractions, act decisively, interpret failure correctly, maintain self-respect, upgrade their standards, discipline themselves daily, refuse to stop. When these elements combine, something extraordinary happens. You become a force, a presence, a mover, a creator, a person who shapes reality instead of reacting to it. This is what it means to think like a winner. Conclusion. The winner is not born. The winner is built. Everything you want begins with your mind. Your identity, your standards, your focus, your beliefs, your interpretations, your discipline, your self-respect, your willingness to grow. The person you become internally determines the life you build externally. If you apply what you've learned in this audiobook, your transformation is inevitable. You will walk differently. You will lead differently. You will respond differently. You will choose differently. You will perform differently. You will live differently. Winning is no longer an outcome. Winning becomes who you are.